Okay, so what we got here is the beginning of a brand new game trail in that the vegetation's pushed down. This hasn't been worn down to where there's a dirt path coming through here. This is probably maybe a couple of months worth of traveling. I don't see any specific compression marks, meaning horse prints, human prints. I just see that everything's been pushed down, so I have an idea of the type of animals that are making this game trail, and what I'm going to do is follow this around and see if I can find more evidence, or even actually the animals that I believe are making this game trail here. I don't care a whole lot for survivalists that say, I don't recommend doing this, and then they do it. There's two things about that. And the first one is, you're an idiot. And the second one is, don't show me the things you don't recommend, show me the things you do recommend. Now with that said, if you're going to be traveling down game trails, especially new ones like this, just make sure that you have the proper gear and the knowledge. Use this little camera here. It's a little head camera, and just in case I need to use both my hands, I don't necessarily have to hold on to you. And I'm going to open up my walking spear. The animals that I believe are making this game trail, they're more or less fearless, and they come at you in groups. So here we go. The thing about following game trails, not only is it dangerous, but they'll go on for miles and miles. And the average person walks between 2.5 and 3.5 miles an hour. A lot of variables in that: height, age, health, of course the terrain itself, weather, the environment, altitude. It goes on. And if you're traveling downhill following a game trail and you're staying at a good 3 to 3.5 miles an hour, and you just keep going and going and going, then you got to turn around and come back. You're going to be traveling at half that speed, about a mile and a half an hour. So they don't keep an eye on the sun, they don't keep an eye on the time, they don't realize how far back they've gone, and they end up having to stay the night where they don't want to stay the night, and they end up freaking out. Alright, I found I found a little bit more evidence of what I believe is making that game trail. Let me show you what I found here, but first I'm going to look up in this tree, because where I'm headed is right over there. This actually is pretty conclusive evidence to me that what's making that trail are peccaries, javelinas, skunk pig. This is the perfect environment for them, perfect terrain. They generally just eat roots and fruits and nuts, but peccaries are also, they eat small little animals, and this is pretty much a standard peccary nest right here. Now I don't see any feces laying around. In fact, I don't even see any tracks, but you're not going to see a whole lot of tracks through this type of terrain. But you can also come over here and see they've got little trails going throughout this area. That game trail where I started off early in the morning, when it's covered with dew, it has a shine, and trackers will call that sheen or shine, tomato tomato. When I came down here, I stopped and I looked up into the tree, and the last thing I need to do is come down here and find a mountain lion sitting up in this tree waiting for the peccaries to come home. before I leave this nest area, there's what we call in the survival world widowmakers. Widowmakers are branches that fall out of trees, they hit you in the head, kill you, and you got a widow at home. This is basically a good widowmaker tree, and especially this one over here. These are bare branches, these are fairly old trees, and it doesn't take a whole lot for a branch to come down, whether it be through the rain, through the wind, maybe the health of the tree. There could be a fracture. I might have forgot to mention that a peccary's favorite food of all things is prickly pear cactus. I found a good example of a widowmaker, and that is this tree right here. Although it burning up is the reason why these branches came down, this is just a standard example. You end up with a log basically landing on your head. So if you're in a survival situation, you're going to be wanting to set up snares, different types of traps. And this right here, I'm not sure what would be living in there, ground squirrels or just mice. Very good place to set up snares. And my favorite part about that is it's got a tree right over the top of it here. Now, when I make snares, I like to make what I call suspension snares, and those are the ones that you see on TV. An animal goes into it and pulls it up, and it has it kind of hanging by the tree. Those are my preferred snares, only because the animal is actually hanging from the tree. If you snare something and it stays to the ground, another predator could come by and take advantage of that. There's a lot of predators, crows basically for an example, that are scavengers and will come by and just swoop on your kill, your dinner, your breakfast ASAP. So I suggest you do the best you can to make suspension snares. So these are the peccaries in a controlled environment, also known as javelina or the skunk pig. And if you were here smelling this, the name's very, very fitting. Peccaries have 3 scent glands, one in each cheek and one just right above the back of the neck. These guys got fangs, but they're very, very long, and although you can't see them with their mouth closed, they're very, very efficient for cracking nuts and self-defense. In fact, if you threaten these animals, they'll make a chattering sound by moving their bottom jaw up and down quick, much like Lee Greenwood sings. And it's also believed that they're part of the hippopotamus family. Down in South America, there was a group of about 100 or so that have injured people and killed people.